How's it going, guys? It's Demon here. This episode, I believe it's episode 5 of the podcast. We got the God Mouse over here, co-host like always.
Hello.
We got Nye down below,
Howdy, howdy.
and we got Badger in the bottom right.
Hello.
Today we got quite a few different topics. This is going to be our first podcast, I think, with 4 people, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Look at us.
hopefully there'll be some good discussion here. I'm sure there will be. First thing we'll start it off with is a topic that me and Richie had in common. So Xbox has followed Nintendo and are raising their
Into the
prices of their first, first party games and their consoles. So,
and accessories.
and accessories. I have the whole spreadsheet. So I'm gonna go over this real quick, and then we can kind of have a general discussion on this, because this is just disgusting to me. So not like I thought it would just be like the Series X that they were raising the price of. They're also raising the prices of the Series S. So
Yeah.
so the Series S with 512 megabytes or gigs of memory is going from $299 to $379. The 1 terabyte is going from $349 to $429. The Series X digital is going from $450 to $550. The Series X regular is going from $500 to $600. The 2 terabyte Galaxy Special Edition is going from $600 to $729. Then you have their controllers. So their core controller is $64.99. The wireless color controllers are going up to $70. The special edition controllers are going up to $80. The limited edition controllers are going from $80 to $90. The Elite Controller Series 2s are going from $140 to $150. The Elite Controller Series 2, oh, this is the full, is going from $179 to $200. The Xbox headset is now going to be $64.99, and the wireless headset is going from $109 to $119. And then they said first-party games around the holiday season are going to start being $80 a pop, which is just crazy to me that they would raise the prices the way that they did on literally everything.
Yeah, Xbox is not in a position to be doing that.
Well, especially since they're pretty much already selling out to Sony. They're not selling out to Sony, but like they've already given up. So like, why are you trying to dig a deeper grave? I don't get it. Like,
Well, I mean, Xbox is like all their stuff is primarily out of China, isn't it? Though.
I mean,
it is.
I mean, yeah, you can blame it on they could technically blame it on tariffs, but like even still, like,
I mean, that's what they're doing.
but it's still like for instance, the Series S. I mean, I don't know anybody that's gonna spend almost $500 on a 1 terabyte Series S. That's stupid.
No, it's $429.99. But still, I mean, that's
Yeah.
$20 cheaper than a Switch 2. You know, and it's
Yeah.
like that's going to be some consideration that a lot of people make.
Well, see, and this is going to be the thing that, like, as for the games, like, if we go to $80, $90 games, then it's going to be one of those things where people probably just don't buy them new. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that do, but, like, for me, for instance, I have a family. I can't afford $80, $90 games. I'm going to have to wait until it's on sale. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to have to be on a decent
they're
sale.
trying to push people to Game Pass.
Oh, I know they are. But even still, like, that's still just absolutely ridiculous to me. And I just...
Well, I mean, and then like, is that price though? Is that going up on just everything? Because
That
like,
is-
what about just like download? Like,
So going to be, for first party games, it's going to be $80 whether it's digital or physical. It does not matter.
yeah, see, then that doesn't make sense.
Okay, so
because why would
what
you
they
buy
said
it?
here, whenever they were speaking to IGN, Microsoft told the site, "We understand that these changes are challenging, and they were made with the careful consideration given market conditions and the rising cost of development." it's boilerplate. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it's very cut and dry. Just now, we just wondering the price because somebody else said they were going to do it.
yeah, basically.
Well, and I mean that's the thing is that it's almost guaranteed that since this is happening, Sony's going to end up following suit because there's absolutely no reason for them not to at this point. You already have Nintendo doing it, Microsoft's doing it. I mean technically, I guess that Sony could keep it the way it is, and I mean they're just going to take even more of Microsoft's money if you want to be completely honest.
Yeah, more market share than they've already got.
Yeah.
That would be their best move because at the end of the day, they need to compete for our money. So whoever makes the best decision to like keep low prices is gonna get the bigger cut of the pie.
I agree with that, but at the same time, Microsoft's already given up a long time ago, and Sony just continues to beat the ever living hell out of them in every single way, sales wise. And we
Yeah, and
talked about this in the
I
last episode, where it's like
Yeah.
Microsoft just said, pretty much, I'm done. Like, and that is only a problem for us, the
Well, they're
consumer.
not done with games, though. I think it's important to say that they're just done with the hardware, or it seems like it. Because I mean, they're higher on the horse than ever when it comes to games. You know, they've got all these acquisitions recently: the Blizzard acquisition, the Blizzard Activision acquisition. They've got the Bethesda acquisition, Minecraft acquisition. You know,
Yeah, see, that's what I
decade
was going to
ago.
say, because I think they were trying to go for becoming like the ultimate streaming or ultimate,
Yeah, Netflix of games.
yeah, or not just, or that's what they're doing now, for sure.
Well,
But
right,
I mean, but for a while there, like with the Xboxes, they're trying to be like the, hey, you can do everything for your entertainment through your Xbox. You know,
right.
all the apps and stuff you could do, all the different games you could do. You know, you could play music through that. You could control your cable TV and a bunch of other stuff just from the Xbox.
Yeah.
So they were trying to do that, I think, for a while there, but then it's just everybody moves straight just to streaming, and then why buy a system when you can just your TV can do it?
Well, I mean, I agree with that, but at the same time, I don't think that streaming games are the way that we need to
Yeah,
go.
I just don't think we're there with
I
the
mean,
internet yet.
I
we're not.
I
And you look at the
I don't.
Stadia. I mean, the Google Stadia was a cool concept. It was a cool idea, but it was DOA. I mean, as soon as it hit, like it was just done.
I mean, there are active game streaming
Well, I
services and
think the
stuff
big
right now,
thing
like
was
Nvidia,
with it
but
sorry, I think the big thing with Stadia was just simply was nobody knew what the fuck it was for the longest. Like all their commercials are so fucking confusing. They're like, what is it?
Well,
What is it supposed to be?
and I mean, like I knew, like I had a guy that I worked with that ended up buying one, and he was on fiber optic internet. Like his internet was pretty decent, and he just it wasn't playable for him even with that strong of internet because there was so much latency and lag in it, and it would
Mm,
buffer every couple seconds, and that just makes a lot of games unplayable. I mean, 90% of games are just unplayable if you have that much latency or buffering or anything.
right, I'm
that's
sure.
true.
So I just don't feel like we are in a place, internet wise, to be able to support a fully streaming console, whatever you entertainment media center, whatever you want to call it. I just
Well, and I
don't
don't
feel
think
like we're
that
in a
that's
place
what
for
they're
that.
trying. I think that Microsoft's going towards more of the like all-purpose. They're trying to unify Xbox and Windows probably into one device,
Yeah.
so that way they can justify having this trimmed down Windows experience that they're already making for handheld devices. Like that's a whole thing. But then they can put that on board their normal consoles, and then at that point, then they can justify it as, oh, we're not just a console; it's also a computer. And I mean, I think a lot of people are going to probably go for that, especially if it's like, look, you don't have to just buy from our store. You can use Steam too, because if they do that and it's like by with Steam's blessing, that's going to be a real game changer. That's going to unify the PC, community into, now your Xbox can also put you into that community too.
True.
and if they have access to Steam, then they have access to PlayStation console exclusives a lot sooner.
That's true. That's a
I
point
mean that is
to
true.
maybe Sony might not have a good time with that.
But I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, like I don't know. I just I get where you guys are going with that. But I mean, even from a lot of the handheld computers that are coming out, like I work with those a lot, and they have so many issues. And I know that like everything's gonna have issues. Even game consoles have issues, and computers and everything else. Just like any new thing, it's going to have its bugs and all that. Um, I just I don't feel like the gaming industry in itself is in a good place. And that's kind of like I know I'm being very pessimistic about it. I just don't.
Well, I think it's not. I think you don't think you're wrong, but at the same time, I still think there's a lot of area for like indie developers and stuff like
Yeah.
Well,
that.
see, and that's the thing is that
And like that's still going strong, and that's always people are always down for those kind of games, and that's where
Well, and it's not
like
even just that. I mean, you've got stuff like what is it, Larian Studios, right? I mean, you've still
hmm
got some good developers that are
Oh, I'm
still
not.
doing stuff
oh for
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah.
like that aren't just
Oh,
indies. Like they're full on studios,
right. No, I'm not. I know that. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I'm just saying is stuff like them and like you said, Larian and like those kind of places, they're not going to be. They don't typically try to compete with between Xbox and PlayStation for exclusive rights.
Mm,
It's just those particular studios that are already contracted in or bought out by said
right?
big
Right.
overheads. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I don't
and
think the gaming entry is in
I don't necessarily
terrible
think
state.
I'm not necessarily talking about like game developers as a whole. I'm more specifically talking about like Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, all the people that essentially produce what you're going to play it on. I just it's not it's they're out there for money. I mean, everybody is at the end of the day. Obviously,
Well, right.
Oh
money's
yeah.
what makes it go around. But they are like game companies like Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo are so anti-consumer that it makes you wonder at what point are they going to do something that just kills the gaming industry. Like
I
what
don't
is
think any
something.
of those
I don't
companies
think.
could do anything big enough that kills all of gaming. I just
Yeah.
don't see it
Well,
because
I
there's
don't.
always
I'm
going to be
not saying that.
computers and
I'm
there's
just.
Yeah.
always
I was just
going to
say.
be
And
people
I'm
making
not
games.
saying that. I'm just saying at what point do you kill off consoles? I mean, like,
Oh, I
I don't
mean,
I
know.
honestly can't
yeah,
think of
consoles like.
anything that would kill the gaming industry because I mean, the gaming industry right now is it's too big. It's growing way too fast. I mean, it's going to continue to grow. It's never going. It's well, I'm not going to say it's never going to stop, but I mean, right now it is, especially now, continuing to grow every day. Because I remember whenever I was younger, gaming wasn't really. It was not necessarily like a taboo topic, but it wasn't something for adults or anything like that. But us growing
Mm,
up in it, now it's something that's just a part of pretty much
No,
everybody's
because those
household.
kids grew up. Those
Yeah.
kids are now adults. I mean, that's how this kind of stuff changes.
No,
yeah.
I don't think
But
I'm
I
getting
just.
my point across, or maybe I just can't find the words for what I'm trying to say.
No, I see what you're saying, but I think ultimately we have to give gaming itself, just the medium itself to convey a story. We have to give it a lot more resiliency than a certain company farts the wrong way and oh crap, now the whole industry's on fire. Consoles aren't being made anymore.
So I
I
have a
just yeah.
question for you guys, and this kind of pertains to this topic. What is something that you think that AAA studios could do that would essentially get all gamers on the same wavelength of this is not okay, this needs to change, and just essentially boycott a studio so that way things do change?
You mean like what's the final straw
Yeah, like
that you think
what do you
would
think?
unite everybody to boycott a studio?
Yeah, and I mean like obviously you're never going to get everybody, but like what do you think would be something that a game studio could do that people would just be like, no?
I mean, donate to Nazis. I don't know. I mean, there's some obvious things, but I mean, I don't think there's anything like I don't know. I don't think there's like really a price tag that's ever going to be too high.
See, and that's the scary thing, though, is it's like
Because like
we're literally
you
sitting
get
here and we're willing to take whatever shit we are dealt out on a silver platter because we like games.
Yeah, I love games. I haven't bought an Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo game in years. I've played it all on PC, and then the kiddo, she doesn't play Xbox or anything like that. She plays on her iPad or a tablet, So I don't know. I think honestly, consoles are just like definitely on their way out. I don't
Yeah.
think there will be a. I think they're all going to handheld systems because that's what the younger
Yeah.
generation
Well,
is
Well, and,
used to
it's
Switch
touchscreens.
is leading the
So
charge,
yeah,
well,
basically.
and
exactly. Switch, Steam Deck, those things are going to
well,
be the heads of this. It's now going to be those two are going to be the big things.
Well,
I
and
think.
and here's the thing with that too, kind of tailing on to that is that with how fast the world is moving now and continuing to move faster, I mean, people don't always have time to just sit down and play a console or PC. So having
Hmm.
handheld consoles or handheld games, I mean, it makes sense. Like that would be the next choice, right? Because then you can just
Yeah,
take it
travel.
wherever.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is. I really think consoles are definitely on their way out. If you're
Well, they're just
to be honest,
moving into
And
a
to a
portable
different
form
direction.
factor.
it exactly.
Which,
I mean,
I
a
mean,
console system to me is something that it sits underneath your TV and does whatever it does. That's a
and
console to me. But you get a tablet, a handheld device. That's.
and
But I mean, here's the thing. I don't know if I'm sure Microsoft can probably come up with something, but like Sony and stuff, they've kind of had what was it, the PSP?
PSP.
the
Yeah,
PSP
like
was decent. The PSP Go was what killed the PlayStation or PSP because the PlayStation Vita was an absolutely amazing handheld console, but people were too scared to produce anything for it because of how disastrous the PSP Go was, and it is
Okay, so
such a
in the
shame.
same vein, there are now rumors and leaks and that sort of thing in the rumor mill about not only an Xbox console handheld thing for the next generation, but a PS6 handheld that's supposed to be able to play up to the fidelity of like a PS-based PS5.
And I
hmm.
would be
That's
okay with
all in
that.
the works and stuff right now.
My
So, like, they are moving in that direction at least partially.
which I'm fine with, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Actually, a lot of the
Yeah.
times I would prefer to play a
I
handheld
prefer that.
game than sit at a TV or something, because then I can just take my game with me. That's the best part about the Switch is that I could be playing a game and have to go somewhere, and if I'm gonna be sitting in a parking lot somewhere, I can just hit the power button, put it in its case, go play it in the parking lot, whatever. It
Right. And
doesn't
then when
matter.
you get home and you want to play on the TV,
You just dock it.
the dock system,
Yep.
it's the perfect thing. You charge it and you keep on playing.
So yeah, I mean, I
It's
guess I
really
didn't really,
handy. I have to
I
say, I
really
love
didn't
the
think
Switch
about
for that.
things going to the handheld market, but that does make sense. Um,
Yeah, I just think that's gonna be the way of it. And I honestly think discs are going to be a thing of the past soon
oh, they
enough.
will be.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
physical
I mean,
media in general.
well, I mean, think about
yeah.
it. They before, well, I mean, did they release a digital PS4?
PS4?
Yeah.
No.
So
I
okay,
think
so
PS4
this is
models
literally
I
the
can
first
think of had a
generation,
disc drive.
the Series X's and PlayStations that have done a digital version. So I mean, it
Hmm.
only makes sense. I mean, I see maybe this next year that they could possibly release a disc version, but after that, I mean, especially with how widespread internet is, you don't even have to have great internet to be able to run a digital download. It's going to take you
Well,
forever.
especially if you look
But
at like the Switch 2, like these game cards, they're the what are they? The code cards, right? The ones that's like that's also moving away from physical. Like everybody thought the Switch would be the last bastion of physical media, and they're doing these like code card things where yeah, no longer if the Switch eShop ever goes down and you don't have that game downloaded locally to your Switch, you lose access to that physical game that you're holding.
see, and I think
Oh
that
man.
that's really the only problem that I have with things going all digital
Oh,
is that if they
I
decide that they're no longer going to support things, then that's it. That's just like the Ubisoft thing where they're just like, hey, people
Well,
need to get used to not owning their own games. You know.
Yeah, I've already
whenever they
had
do,
digital games that I've owned like either no longer work or like just be taken away because the newer version comes out like 7 days to die.
Yep.
Yeah.
And here's the thing is I don't know because I'm not a game developer, but I have a hard time believing that a lot of these games couldn't pretty easily be ported to an offline mode. Like I feel like that's something that could happen.
No, a lot. I mean, most of the time, it's trivial at best.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, but
It's all
just
about keeping their, keeping their finger on how people can play their game.
well, and not only that, but it's one of those things of oh, well, people are still playing this. Well, we're going to get rid of that so that way they have to buy the next one.
Yeah.
And I mean
Things
that's
like Overwatch. Most people would have liked to play Overwatch,
like the
just
Crew?
original one.
the Crew because that was a big thing. People got really pissed off whenever they took off or stopped supporting the Crew.
Then it's actually kind of kudos to Wildcard for not completely getting rid of Survival Evolved for Survival Ascended because about 50% of the player base still plays Evolved.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why.
They're right.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else got anything to add on this topic? No. Okay.
No.
Mouse, you wanna go with one of your topics?
Okay, well, kind of in regards to the general direction that gaming's going, here's this article. I read it the other day, actually, before I was talking with Badger, and come to find out that the whole standalone VR headset that Valve's working on, the Valve Deckard,
Oh yeah.
yeah, they're talking that it should have specs. This is various people who, once again, might have the information on the topic, leaks and rumors and stuff like that. But it should have the specs capable to run Half-Life Alyx natively. No need to link up to the computer or anything like that. It literally can run it
really?
just from the processor built into the headset. You could go
I
and-
hope
and-
so.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
I would love that because honestly, I have the Valve Index, and definitely I loved it. But when I had it set up, I haven't had it set up in either in my last house or this current house. I haven't had it set up
Right.
because it is a little bit of a hassle to have to set up and be able to do when sometimes you just don't have the physical room to even do it.
Yeah.
To play those kind of games.
I mean, and that is always an issue with VR.
Yeah.
But once again, though, I was talking with Badger, though, you can take in this headset. Once again, this is another theoretical thing, but you can run your Steam games through the VR, just like a big screen in front of you, and you can play with like your Steam controller, TM, play with your Steam controller through it on like a screen, to where it's just like it becomes like a PC console kind of thing, like with using the Steam Deck UI and the Steam Deck or the what is it, Steam
That
OS.
would be, I'm not gonna lie, that'd be kind of cool. I would really think I would be into something like that.
Yeah.
Because theoretically, wouldn't that change your whole perspective of like, you could change your field of view of the game itself?
Now, to be completely honest, I believe we can already do that. Like, just in Steam, in the VR already, I believe we can take and load in, and display it on a screen. Because I know you can do that with like movies and stuff. I believe you can load up a game though and play it just like that. But once again, we have to be tethered to our PC.
Right.
Yeah. See, I can't really
So
add
all I'm saying
anything.
is, it's not like it's going to be a far-fetched feature. It's like I believe we can already do this in our headsets already.
Yeah. See, I can't really
That
add
would be
anything to
cool.
this because I'm not super big into VR. I had an Oculus for a
man.
while, but I just with
When right,
number
when
well,
done right, it's great.
well, number one with my glasses, it makes everything blurry when I take them off. Number two, it's
Yeah.
just it gives me extreme vertigo, and I can't handle it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
so
know.
if
Say what?
Oh, I was just saying that was fair. Yeah, it's a fair
Oh.
assessment.
I mean, I
happens to
love
quite a
the
few people,
idea
like
of
my-
VR.
My fiance can't watch any IMAX movies
Yeah.
because
Oh,
she
really?
can't. Yeah, because
That's crazy.
she has to take her glasses off to be able to put the other glasses on, but then her eyes just can't focus on it.
I just
See-
shoved the other glasses over my current glasses. Or the VR headset, I just put it
Yeah.
over my glasses.
See, and
I
that's
just smashed my
what my
glasses
wife
against
does.
my face.
That's the thing. I love the idea of VR. I think it is absolutely awesome. I know this is kind of it's not something that's well, I'm not going to say it's not realistic because I mean, things are always evolving, but like the thought of a full dive VR system is always very intriguing. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah, I would love for it
Like
just
little
be able to
like
get.
the temple things in Black Mirror.
like I've always thought
Oh,
that that's a
like that
really
kind of.
interesting concept.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even if you had like or like a nerve gear from like SAO or something from like Log Horizon or whatever, it doesn't
Oh,
matter.
I was just
It
thinking
would.
like what's in real life is like because they have the full virtual suits, that tracks your whole body motions and everything else corresponds into it. You put the headset on, and then they have those pads you can run on. I mean, you just don't. Yeah, you don't get the physical sensations yet, but I know they have that kind of stuff already being made to some extent
Yeah.
to be able
Yeah,
to
Yeah. I
feel
mean, it won't be
temperature
long before
changes
it's
and
probably
physical
consumer
touch.
available.
yeah, and
Well, I mean,
that's
even while like the whole suit systems, those are available. Like, was it the Russian Badger? He
Oh no
makes
no no!
all
no.
I'm
He
like
has
talking
full
like
mocap.
mocap kind of suits. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like that kind of stuff is available.
No, when I say full
Or you're,
dive, I mean like
oh, I know
full
what you
dive.
mean, but
yeah
yeah, I got what you meant. What I'm like, that's why it confused me for a second there because I'm like, we have that.
Yeah, no,
I
I'm
bet
not talking
like
like mocap, but go ahead.
I bet virtual reality sensors for like being able to feel stuff in game will start out as like a chest plate where like you feel like bullet hits or like impact or
they have them.
something. Yeah, well, before they have like full body suits like regularly, like if I
Oh,
guess they
full
already have that.
system.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, they
Yeah,
but
do.
it'll
They have
yeah.
like a
probably
chest
start be
vest thing
bits
that you
and
can feel where the
pieces.
bullets hit you on it.
Yep, they 100% do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean VR is always something that's been super interesting to me. It's just not something I can necessarily take right now. So
But
Yeah.
yeah, so this headset though should be that makes it significantly more powerful than whatever the current offering that Meta has, the Quest 3, I think it is.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that thing would have really even close to the specs required to run Alex at a manageable frame rate to to reduce the nausea. Because that's one
Right.
thing is if you try to play a game that it's not capable of running, it hurts. I mean, it's not fun to play it whenever you're fighting back the because you're sitting there and everything's
Well,
yeah,
I guess
jittering
that.
around.
Yeah. Yeah, that would. I didn't
When I
have that.
played
Oh,
Minecraft VR, yeah, it was really bad just because of the flickering. For me, that was the worst game.
Yeah.
um, Richie, you said you had like a little
Yeah, I can move right on to that one. Okay, so what is your favorite console generation of all time? And I'll go ahead and start to give everybody a little bit of time to think of their own. But mine is the GameCube, PS2, Xbox generation. And it was
Yeah,
kind of a toss up between that and the Xbox 360, PS3, and Wii generation, but I kind of lean more towards the GameCube, PS2, Xbox because that was just so many more of the games that even nowadays we see sequels to and remasters of, and all this homage paid to are from that generation.
hmm.
well, I feel like like that PS2, GameCube, Xbox era is kind of like the golden era for us. Because like
Yeah.
you can look at the games that were first released on like PS2, Xbox, GameCube, and then look at the last games released, and the amount of advancement that we made was insane. I would agree that's probably my favorite
Admittedly.
era, but it is like literally a hair away from being PS3, Xbox 360. Just because like I do remember a lot of my gaming time was mainly on PS3, but my love for gaming came from the PS2 really.
for me, it's the PS2 GameCube era because Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Resident Evil 4, Need for Speed Most Wanted, just like the most iconic games like ever. Oblivion, even. That might have been 360, the PS3 era, though, actually. But still.
Yeah. What about you, Kylan?
Oh man. Honestly, I want to say it was the 360 era because that was the first
Yeah,
like
that was close
system.
for me.
Well, and see, that's the thing. Like Godmouse knows is from my childhood. Me and my brothers, we did not have game system until the 360 when we all three put our money together to buy one.
Hmm.
So that was our first game, like true game system that really was in that time because we did have an PlayStation, but we had like 4 games for it. But I don't
Right.
know because we did have a Super Nintendo that we got.
Yeah. Yeah.
And man, do remember the days of playing through Super Metroid, and me and my brother would make graph paper maps and try to figure out where the last secret item for that damn game was because we would finish it
You were
with
at 99%.
99%, and little did I know until years later. Like me and my brother, I don't know how we either accidentally figured it out or came across it, but we got a glitch in that game where we could loop the back to the very beginning of the game with all our items except for our basic missiles.
Oh wow.
And you go back to fighting Ridley on the space station with the plasma beam and fucking rinse that guy. It
Oh
was
man.
atrocious. I mean, we'd go in there just blasting with super missiles. We could never get that 99%. It wasn't until the end of the game, like years later, that I actually figured out that the on the final run out of the game, you're like racing against the planet exploding. So you're on a timer.
Yeah.
But if you
Yeah, and
go
you
back
can.
to the very first room where you get your first power up, which was the morph ball form, you get in that same room, and there's little critters that you like meet in the game that you
Yeah, it's
kind
the
of teach you
animals.
like the animals, and you can blast open a door and let them escape with you. That was the last secret. So honestly, I think that might be my honest pick is the Super Nintendo. I mean, maybe not that era because I was still a child, but playing through that was my development of loving for games was playing through that game.
It's definitely not a bad pick. I mean that there was a lot of things.
Oh, I thought you said Xbox 360.
He
I
did
mean, Xbox
originally.
360 is that's what I was saying. It's a hard pick, but I mean, what
Oh, gotcha.
what made me first into games was the Super Nintendo. That
Yeah.
or
That
maybe
makes sense.
going to my grandpa's and playing video game
With the,
series.
with the Genesis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that was it, but who knows?
So, I don't know if you guys heard, but GTA 6 finally got delayed.
Yep.
It
May 8th of
Yeah.
next year.
finally got no. It's not May 8th. It's delayed
thought
to
it was-
May 26, 2026.
Oh,
A lot of people were saying it was going to come,
That's
and
gonna be crazy. There are gonna be literal companies that failed because they were trying to predict when to release a product around GTA 6,
well,
and
the good
because of
news
that
is
delay, they have been delayed until next year because of GTA 6, and now they have to either wait another year or just drop when GTA 6 drops.
well, there were a lot of indie developers that were saying that GTA 6 they didn't want to release their indie game at the time they wanted to because GTA 6 was about to drop.
Yeah,
and like I didn't know. I had a feeling that they were going to push it back, but it does surprise me that they waited so long in the year to say anything about it. Because if I'm not mistaken, there for a while they were saying like, "Oh no, it's coming out this year. It's coming out this year," and then we finally got the delay. But the good news from that is that we do have an actual solid release date for it. So
Right.
I mean, there's that. You don't have to sit there and guess what date it's coming out. It's coming out almost a month and 23 days from now, or not a month, a year and 23 days from now.
Yeah.
So soon, it's like Oblivion all over again.
You said next year, you liar.
Comes out
Shadow
today.
drops.
But I mean, like, this is just classic Rockstar because they're like, out of any game company,
perfectionists.
they are perfectionists, and I would never expect them
Yeah.
to ever release something that is not finished because, I mean, even through all the stuff
They're
that
the
they added,
goats.
I mean, to be completely honest, they have a proven track record. They do not
Yeah.
miss. I mean, the worst game that they've had in recent memory that I can think of was like GTA 4, and even still, it still fucking sold fuck tons of copies. So,
Still considered a revolutionary game as well.
yeah. So,
I still remember the news articles talking about it, you know, and how
Yep.
they're like, "Oh, it's so violent. You can do so much bad
Teaches your
things."
kids all this bad stuff.
wasn't there
Oh, God.
an article or a news outlet that was saying that don't let your kids play GTA 4? It's too realistically violent or some shit like that.
I think do remember that. I
Like,
do think I distinctly remember something like that. And it might have been a local news network that said that.
It might have been, but it's like I like vaguely remember something about that. Like people are complaining or parents were complaining because it's too realistic and it's gonna ruin my kids. It's like, well, your kids see worse things on the internet anyway, so.
Right?
Then
they
don't
didn't
let
know
your
that
kid
yet.
play it, but like just leave the company alone. Let other people play it. Just don't let your kid play it. Like to your kid.
I seen this. I seen this meme. It was like, fuck, probably a week ago. It was like this kid going to GameStop for like the original Oblivion. It was like, are you over the age of 18? And then he went to the current one to get like the regular remaster that they have now, and it was like, okay, your total is. It's like, oh, that's sad. That hurts. I'm not a child
Was it rated
anymore.
now?
I don't know. I'm sure it's probably still rated, but it was rated
Oh.
back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So-
you got like I don't know. Do you think anymore they still? Well, I don't know.
Still,
Because like you can buy so many games online now without ever having to verify anything. You know?
I mean, that's true, but at the same
you set
time,
up
you
the
also
profile,
have to
though.
have. Well, whenever you set up the profile for one, you have to set up an age, which you can get past that. But then, I mean, even still,
Yeah.
you would have to use your parents' credit card most likely, especially if you're under like the age of like 16. I would say. Like, isn't there
Yes.
like an age limit for a bank account? Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, that's I
No,
guess a good
no.
point.
No,
So-
there's not an age for children on a bank account
But
because
is there an age for the debit?
Doesn't there
for the
have to
bank
be
account?
like a
debit
signer
card
on there?
yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah, there
like
has
their
to be
parents,
signer and stuff like that.
yeah, their parents would still have to, or a guardian of some sort would still have to sign for them to even have that. So, I mean,
I mean,
there's
not for the. I mean, again, I'll say is like, I definitely had a debit card in my before I was 18 because
Yeah, but how
I
much?
was.
Because I had one when I was 16.
I had one when I was
Yeah,
16.
that's
Something
how I
that I
feel.
had to
Yeah.
co-sign with my parents.
That's what I was saying, under
Yeah, but
16.
you could use you didn't have to have them there to use it. That's what I'm saying.
No,
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 that's-
but
that's
to be
true.
able to get it, like you would
Yeah,
have
you
to have
could
like
get
a
it, and
secondary
you could still be
person on.
responsible, but you could still buy something online with it. Is
Well,
all
yeah,
I'm saying.
for sure. Jesus, and I did. Trust me, I bought some
definitely
stuff.
clicked yes.
Xbox
I'm
360.
above 18 years old.
My mouth says I bought some shit.
Xbox 360, man.
Yeah.
But so I mean, yeah, and I would talk about GameStop, but game stores are pretty much all but obsolete anymore because,
Yep. Just like a Blockbusters, you know.
dude, that makes me
It's the
sad.
same thing.
That hurts me.
It shouldn't. I mean, it's obsolete now. There's no need to go in there and spend exorbitant prices to get
I
the
mean,
same thing.
it
that you
is,
get
but
online
it's
for
like that nostalgia. Like there's a
standardized price.
there's a specific smell whenever you walk into a Blockbuster, like a very specific smell. Like, am I the only one that feels that way?
I can't remember.
I don't actually ever remember being
It
in a
smells like
Blockbuster.
industrial
Oh,
glue.
no, we had like Video Update and Family Video. And,
Yeah,
Yeah, Family Video.
I remember Family Video,
Hollywood
yeah.
Video, and all these like
God.
competing video stores, man. Video store wars. But
I remember, didn't you used to be able to go to the library and rent movies and shit too?
Oh
think
yeah,
we still
yeah.
can.
You
Huh.
still can definitely. You can.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure you
Movies,
can now. I just meant like
VHS,
back then.
DVD.
Yeah, I just
you
meant
can rent
back
like
then.
albums and stuff too. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Newspapers.
I guess we haven't really asked you guys. Do you guys have any topics you want to talk about, or take that as a no. All right, moving
I'm
on.
not directly offhand, no.
Well,
Not when you
I
put me in a
didn't
spotlight like that.
I didn't ask before we started, so like
Let me go through my search history.
I got to
What
thinking
am I
about it.
looking at?
I got to
No, to
thinking
be
about it.
I
honest,
remember seeing.
you told me to think of some stuff to talk about, and I said I would, and then I completely forgot about it.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah.
You're welcome. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I kind of want we can kind of round back around to that first story about the price increase and stuff, and
Yeah,
so
for
it
sure.
does seem like there is just a gradual curve upward. Maybe not that shape, but a gradual curve, gradual shape upwards of the price increase just in general this generation, because it all kind of started with the PS5 go with the Pro version. What is it, $700 now?
Yeah, it's up
Yeah.
there.
So I mean, when you factor that in, and you factor in that it was already this generation specifically that there were $70 games, and then people didn't really push back too much. So once again, they're gonna keep turning that knob until there's enough force back to stop them turning it.
I
Yeah.
think it's because there's too many games and they're not selling as much as they could be, that they have to push the prices up. So it's kind of like a backlash
See,
of like there just being too much going on in the gaming world right now.
well, see, and
Yeah,
that's my
but-
opinion of being a problem with the gaming industry. I feel like what they need to
AAA
do
anyway.
is they need to take a step back, take longer to produce games, and honestly, you don't like these companies don't need to spend as much money as they do to make good games. We had this conversation on a previous episode where you have indie developers that are taking a fraction of the price of a AAA game and making a game that everybody absolutely fucking loves. I mean,
You
just
know why the people love? Because they're
It's 'cause
true
it's a-
to what the developer wanted. You know.
well, it's a passion project, and we've talked about it. You can
Exactly,
tell
because-
whenever somebody
It's a
loves
game
what
built
they're
by
making.
humans, not algorithms.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
you can tell whenever a developer loves what they're doing or has a passion about it because number one, they're going to do what they want to do. They're going to make it the way that they want it to be made. They're going to make it good. And also, 90% of the time, they listen to their fan base on what the fan base wants, and then they usually in some way implement that. For good or for
Yeah, they're
bad.
like, oh, that's like be it either a good idea or not. But they're like, okay, I guess that's fair. That's a reason to do whatever that they said.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. So I think that the gaming industry just needs to slow down a little bit, and I feel like that would help a lot of things.
I mean, once again, the economic system that we're in does not permit that. The line must go up, because to slow down and take your time and to do things correctly, that line doesn't go up as much.
Well,
Because you might get a Red Dead 2 or you might get a Duke Nukem Forever.
no,
you know?
what you might get is a No Man's Sky.
Well, no, that's not for lack of time.
That's just for fucking lying, and that shit pisses me off. Duke
Yeah, but
Nukem Forever was kind of trash, wasn't it?
repented.
They did, and
All the-
it's an
all-
amazing
all of
game
the-
now.
Yeah, at least they didn't abandon it. You
Yeah.
know?
And I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
give them props because instead of abandoning it, they worked on it, and they didn't do some scummy shit like being like, oh well, every time we release an update, you got to pay for the new content. No, everything has been completely free all the way through, and that's one thing
Right.
that like I will. That will leave the lasting impression on me. Not the game. Like obviously, I bring it up a lot about No Man's Sky, but like props to them for actually taking accountability for what they did and making the game an absolute awesome game.
Yeah.
Because I mean, to be honest, they could have done what most developers done. They couldn't have because it wasn't that like their first game.
Yeah, well, no, they had done a few smaller games
Yeah,
before.
so this
but
was like their first
they-
big one.
they
It was
got
like this
kinda
Evil
picked up by
Knievel
Sony.
style, like launch, like side scroller, like really, like compared to No Man's Sky, it was nothing. Something Joe,
Yeah.
like
So
Stunt Joe or
Danger
something
Joe
like
or something.
So, I
Adventure
mean,
Joe.
they could have
I don't
done
remember.
what another company would have done and just been like, nope, we're just the game is what it is. You got what you got. Get scammed, and moved on, or just go on bankrupt or
Right.
whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm happy with how the game turned out after all the updates and stuff.
Yeah, they did right. Honestly, they did. They could have taken if the game was in a slightly better state and didn't get torn open as bad as it did by all the critics whenever it first launched. They could have taken a lot of what they did release afterwards as DLC or paid content, but they didn't.
Speaking of which,
they kept it out. They held it out the whole time.
they're making a new game.
Yeah.
And it
I
looks
can't remember exactly the name.
it looks pretty good. Hello Games. I couldn't remember who made it.
Here's the big question: are you gonna pre-order it,
No.
or are you gonna wait for it to come out?
Nope. Oh, it was
I haven't pre-ordered a game in a long time.
Jordan. It was Joe Danger, by the way.
Joe Danger.
Joe Danger.
Joe Danger. Let's see. So this one is Light No Fire. Set on a fantasy planet the size of Earth, bringing the depth of a role-playing game to the freedom of a survival sandbox. I will wait until it comes
out.
out.
I saw with the flying the dragon around.
Yes.
Really huge world, and they're promising that it's going to be another huge procedural, but it's like a fantasy world, and it's just one planet, but it's like the whole planet.
Yep. I'm excited for it because of how the state that No Man's Sky is in now, but because of how No Man's Sky released, I am not going to pre-order it. I will wait probably for a couple months before I ever pick it up, so I can actually see.
No, I don't want that game day one enough to pre-order.
No, I will. Well, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. No Man's Sky really kind of ruined me on pre-orders. The last game I pre-ordered was Baldur's Gate 3. But other than that,
early access?
Huh?
Before it was in early access?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It came out a lot. I'm pretty sure it came out pretty. Like they announced it at one thing, and you could pre-order.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah. So I pre-ordered Baldur's Gate 3. That was the last game that I pre-ordered. The one before that was No Man's Sky. I just don't do it anymore because it's just, like I said, that kind of ruined me on it. After all these years, I just can't. So.
I'm trying to think. I think I pre-ordered Skyrim, and I want to say I pre-ordered another game since, but I couldn't tell you what it is.
I thought No Man's Sky came out after Skyrim. Actually, I know it did. It 100% did because it was at the vape shop.
Did.
I was like, hold up.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, hold up.
I'm just saying, it's the only game I pre-ordered.
See, that's
just, bragging.
That's the shit that I was talking about the other day, where I was like, I can't set a time zone for my memories. Like I have these core memories, but like I can't just think about them and immediately know, oh well, that happened at this point in time. But yeah, that's something that I keep looking into. It looks great. It really does. But No Man's Sky also looked amazing. So you never really know.
A game that I am honestly looking forward to, and I haven't heard anything about it in a long ass time. So I doubt there might be anything coming out. But Fable.
What are you talking?
There is a Fable. It's actually talked about in this. Fable was recently delayed to 2026 as well.
There you go.
So let me see here.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be a prequel of the whole thing. It's supposed to be
absolutely.
the old kingdom, like all the I forget if they're called the old statues.
Yep.
The doors.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like that era.
I absolutely.
Those.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love Fable. That is one of my favorite game series, I will say.
Yeah, and I honestly, I know people had a lot of hate on like the sequels and stuff. I fucking love them. Oh man, I love those
2 was
games.
good. I never played 3 because I just heard it was trash.
I liked it. I really did. I thought it was
Fable
a great little
3
story.
was
It had good concept, but there's definitely a different approach to it.
I'm not gonna say that it was linear because it wasn't necessarily linear. Like the storyline was on a very linear path, obviously. But you could go to a lot of places in the world. There was a lot of things you could do. I personally love Fable 3 for completely different reasons than I loved 2 or 1.
Well, I saw the trajectory that the series was kind of on with like less RPG elements, less gear, kind of like I don't know, like because it went from the first game where it was I don't know, pretty heavy RPG, a lot of choices and everything like that, and then like armor and weapons and equipment and stuff. And you go into the second game, and they kind of expanded upon it a lot, except for then you no longer had armor. It was just like clothes and stuff, and it didn't really do much to help you.
One thing about Fable 3 that people really didn't like is they leaned very heavily on the morality or the morale aspect of the game for the story. So you could either choose to be the good guy throughout the whole campaign and everybody die, or you could be the absolute fucking prick and everybody live. And now, mind you, you could be the good guy throughout the whole story, and you could play, or you could choose all the good options, and then at the end, have to grind the ever living shit to get resources.
Yeah, there it is.
But
I was just saying, like, oh, you can be good and save
you can,
everybody, but
you
it
can,
is an
and I'm gonna tell you what,
absolute
it is a
all on.
slog. It is absolutely like even if you buy all the property in the game, it's going to take you probably I would say at least 30 hours alone of just grinding for
Oh, yeah.
money, like alone.
And that's it, money, just it.
Just money.
And
If you're
yeah,
rich
it's,
enough, you can be good and save everyone.
it's
Well, see-
literally what. Yes, that is 100% true.
Yeah.
Now, but at the same time, that was during the era of Xbox generations where you could change the date on it, so you could definitely not have to spend
Yeah.
the 30 hours. You could
Yeah,
just advance your Xbox system forward 1 year and then collect 1 year's worth of in-game rent.
Okay, but if people bitch about Pokemon about how hard it is to level up your level to get the competitively viable team and stuff like that, when you can also just do the date, the date scum, then they should also bitch about that for Fable 3, where you have to save date scum to get your payments early and whatever.
Here's my
yeah.
thing is like for turn-based RPGs and stuff like Dragon Quest and Pokemon and stuff like that. I don't know what it is, but I love the grind. I can spend hours upon
it's a lot
hours
more chill for a game.
mindlessly
You can sit there
droning.
Mm.
Yeah, just
Yeah, because you can
just set it
stop,
down at
look
any
up,
time.
and you
Yeah.
can be exactly. You can just do something else for a little bit, and then
And,
come
like, at the
right
end of
back
the
to it and
day-
be happy about that.
And the thing is, like at the end of the day, I still feel fulfilled for having done that. Like I don't feel like I wasted my time, especially if it's a game that I truly enjoy. You know. And there's times where, like, obviously you do it for so long, you're just like, this is shit, and I wish I could just skip it. But then you can
Plus,
just go
if
do
the
something
gameplay
else.
is fun enough, then it like a 40-hour grind of gameplay isn't that bad. It's actually by the time the game's over, you almost wish you had another 10 hours to go.
Right.
You also know
that's what I was
that if the
gonna say
game
as
is
well.
ending at the perfect time, because if you played for another 10 hours, you might not want to touch the game for another 2 years, you know?
Mm,
Well, that's the thing is like with Dragon Quest, I played Dragon Quest 11 6 times over within a span of about 2 years. It is easily in my top 5 favorite games, and I haven't touched it in probably 2 years because I know the game front and back. And I'm really waiting on 12 to come out, but right now they're kind of in a thing of doing remakes, which I'm excited for. Don't get me wrong, I'm not bitching about that at all. I will happily take that. Speaking of remakes, that's something that we kind of talked about this once before. Like I kind of want to get Nye, I want to get your opinion. Badger, I want to get yours. Do you guys feel like game companies doing remakes or remasters for their games are lazy cop-outs, or do you feel like how do you feel about remakes?
Are they lazy cop outs?
I think
Yeah, absolutely. However, I love them. I really do.
absolutely.
I am not at all upset by a lazy cop out for a remake. Like
Depending.
that's pending.
Depending.
Depending. Yeah. I mean, as long as I'm like not having to.
Okay.
I don't know.
Did you guys ever play like the GTA remakes they did for?
No, I've never played GTA at all. Truth be told, this
I
Those are
haven't.
just garbage remakes. Absolutely, they're just so bad. They contracted out a third-party studio or whatever to remake the what is it? The Vice City stories,
Oh,
or San
you know-
Andreas, and
Liberty City Stories.
Well, stories is
Yeah.
Let
Vice
me
City
ask
Stories
this.
is different than Vice City.
No,
Yeah, let
Liberty
me
City
ask this.
Stories.
Let me ask this. Are we? Because I should have clarified this because Oblivion has it wrong. Are we talking about remakes or remasters?
Both.
Because
So this is
remakes.
that's
Okay, let me clarify this. Remasters, I really don't see any reason why that could be a bad thing ever.
Okay, yeah. I
Maybe
would agree with
touching on
that.
maybe
Remasters.
maybe touching on like a little bit of like bug mechanics would be okay. I would never be upset by that. But honestly, I would be happy with if old games got remastered. That's just always fun. That's like getting the new mod of a video game that fixes glitches
see.
or I mean, just changes up the how things look.
I'm kind of see. I'm different. I would almost rather have older games be remade on newer engines and everything like that.
Oh, I'm not saying that if I had to choose between the two, I would love a remaster that was done correctly.
Right? Yeah.
Because that's always going to be the key of it if it's done correctly. If it's still like you said, a new engine, like which one was the Final Fantasies? Because I never played them. That had the remake. It was a 7,
7.
7.
Yeah.
and it's like the story was it branches off into a new element kind of thing.
I didn't play the original, but I really liked. I didn't fully understand like how the new one was different, but I really liked that it was, despite that.
You
You
know,
know.
Right. So that to me is a really good remake. It's not 100% true to itself, but it adds to itself in a really positive way. I
Yeah.
like that.
see, but
But
if
I
that's the
get what we.
case, then I can't feel like that's a cheap cop out. I feel like
No,
Yeah, and
I
exactly.
feel like
That's
that's
exactly
more
I
right.
love
improving
the
the game.
Resident Evil remakes. They are so good.
See, and
Like
I
2,
can't
Right
3,
speak for
there's a
4.
those.
primary example right there. That's yeah.
See, and I can't speak for those because I've never played any of the Resident Evils. I've never been
Yeah,
a
I
Resident
haven't.
Evil fan.
Oh,
So,
I haven't
One of my
either,
favorite
but I
game
know they were
series.
done really done. They were done really well and well received. I know that for fact.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, but like what I consider a cheap cop out is like The Last of Us remastered. It literally was out for not very long, and it was remastered on the same console, wasn't it? It was on the PS4, wasn't it?
Yeah, isn't it like a
I'm pretty
remaster?
sure it
No, I
came
thought the
out.
remastered came out on PS5. I think. I'm.
Let me look this
once
up
The
again,
first
it
because
one,
didn't
this is
make
the
any
second
sense.
remaster
either way,
for the
it
first
still
one,
doesn't
and the
make sense.
remastering the second game that came out for PS4.
It's,
Oh wait, yeah, because The Last of Us originally came out on PS3, and then they remastered it for PS4, and then that's what a lot of us played and stuff. And then they remastered. I think they did it again for PS5.
yeah, you're right. Okay, but even still, like
I'm fine
I
with it
just
though.
I'm still fine with it too. Yeah, I hate
Have
to
you
say it,
played the
but
games? Like if you've played it,
I
you're fine with
have.
it.
I have. I just, but at the same time, I'm also not a huge Last of Us fan. Like, I understand why people love it. I completely get that. I'm not going to say that my opinion is right in this. It's just,
mhm.
I'm not a fan of it. It just didn't do anything for me. I think
mean,
the
I can
story is
almost see
great.
Really, that
perspective.
the end of the first game didn't do it for you?
It didn't, man.
You
Like,
know you know what the part of that game that did it for me that made me go like, okay, this game can take my money or whatever saying you want to say, but it really made me like I will stand with this game because I love that. Was I will play that game because I'm a glutton for punishment on the hardest difficulty you can at the beginning of the game. I don't know what that was, but I tried it. And I got to this part where I was trying to go through this tunnel and I had no materials. I had like none of like the shivs that so you can sneak up on them and kill them instantly. I had none of that shit. I had to battle my way through that. Died so much, I almost gave up on that game. I legitimately almost gave up on the game. Finally got through it, and then it had this cutscene with some giraffes. And I swear, I
Mhm.
bawled at that scene. It
Yeah.
hit so fucking hard for me, and I'm like, okay, that was it. That was the moment for that game series for me.
yeah.
Now,
See,
granted, I've never played the follow-up series, the part two. I haven't played it, and I
That
don't know
one's
much
got
about it.
really mixed, but I love it personally. I love every character in it.
But yeah, so back to the original question, Demon. Yeah, I see where you're coming at with the, the cheap cop outs kind of thought process on it, but I don't know. Sometimes just hitting those old nostalgia game moments again and
Well,
being like, "Ah,
see, and I
I
don't
needed
think
this."
that they necessarily are
Yeah.
cheap cop outs. I just think some of them are, and I think it's very blatant. But keeping on this topic, let me ask a follow up question for all of you. If you had to choose one game to remake and one game to remaster, which games would they be?
Oh.
Super
Okay.
Mario 64 for a remake.
Yep.
I've already thought about this.
Well. I mean, you pretty much got it in Odyssey. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's the same thing, but like I feel like if they
Odyssey's the
used what,
spiritual successor.
yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like
No,
if they would
See it
have,
Galaxy's. Yeah.
I feel like if they would have taken that and then remade 64 with the same mechanics and everything as they did in Odyssey, I feel like it would be an amazing title.
That's fair. I need to get a Switch eventually. They're probably cheaper now, so I'd like to play
Okay.
Odyssey. Let me
All
think
right.
further on it. Sorry, I
I
spoke up too soon. I wanna think about it.
I think I have my answers.
Go ahead.
All right. For the remake, I think I'm gonna go back to the Super Metroid 1993. I would love to
Yep.
see that remastered. Like, I don't
Remastered or
care if it's
remade?
still no remastered because I
Okay.
don't care if it stays as a side scroller or if it
So kind of like
becomes
how they
a
did
first
Metroid
person.
Dread.
Yeah, like if they did it Dread, I'd still be okay with it. But if they did it like Metroid Prime, oh, that would be some good
Well, that would
games.
have to be a remake
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what I would a remastered. Either way of going with it, a remaster of that game would be awesome. But a remake, I want I want Command and Conquer Zero Hour.
Ooh.
Command and Conquer Journal Zero Hour. I want that game like full remastered. That game to me, oh, it was so much fun. Or any of the old Command and Conquer series game. I would be so thrilled with any of them
Okay.
if they were remastered.
Uh,
Though maybe cut out the their cutscenes.
yeah.
Those cutscenes they start
then. Hey,
getting
come on,
some
Tim
real.
Curry.
Oh God, he was the worst about it. Oh God, them and any female actor of that era of the game series. Oh my God.
Mouse, what about you?
Hey, I'm still thinking. I
Like,
know as far as like the actual like the remake goes, I mean you couldn't go wrong with a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Like, that's I mean, if you're gonna remake any game and you want it to be, because there's a lot of mechanics that don't really hold up that well, and
That
if
is
you
true.
gave it proper controller support and you gave it like proper world and things, to where it wasn't so boxed in, but they actually gave it the size that it was trying to go for. And it did a good job with the sizes and scales and stuff like that. But if you were to actually give them like a Breath of the Wild sized world or something like that with, Ocarina of Time, and gigantic temples, if they rebuilt the forest temples and rebuilt the like all these different the fire temple and the water temple and the light temple and the dark temple and all these different things, and they were all built out way larger and differently than they were. I mean, it would be just like you're rediscovering the game for a second time. So that would
See,
probably be my vote. I'm still not sure about remasters though, or at least the specific one I can think of off the top of my head.
so I'll go with mine. For a remake, I've always been a JRPG fanboy. I would love to see Legend of Dragoon. We talked about this on the last episode.
Oh right.
Legend of Dragoon would be absolutely amazing. I feel like with today's graphics and engines and everything else, I feel like they can make it look really cool.
oh,
For a remaster, I would probably say Dragon Quest VIII because will always be my favorite Dragon Quest. It's the very first one that I really got hooked on. But that's the one that made me go back to one and then play them all in order. And absolutely would love to have a remake of that or a remaster. And mind you, like the closest thing that I've gotten to a remaster of it is they put it on like iPhone and Android,
Oh right.
which no.
Just for on concept alone, no.
It's I've seen the controls; they are abysmal. I'm good. Well, it's literally one like you have a joystick in the middle of your phone, and that's your whole control scheme right there. You don't have the dual analogs. You don't have any of that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not happy with that. But
So for a remaster, I think I would probably go with like Morrowind, because if they're already doing it for Oblivion and they're updating a lot of the old kind of the archaic systems, do it to Morrowind. Give it voice acting. Call it a remaster.
yep,
That would be kind of awesome.
yep.
I
That would be really
look
good.
forward to it.
Really would.
I
Or
also,
even
I also
Yeah.
Daggerfall.
think it'd be a. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I've decided what I want to change my answers to.
Go ahead.
And
Yeah.
for me, the remaster would be Need for Speed Most Wanted.
Yep.
Awesome
Awesome
then-
choice.
Oh yeah, that'd be
Awesome
nice.
choice.
That
Aren't
would
they?
Then
be-
the
Aren't they
remake,
already
I would
redoing that?
actually prefer a re-release of Guitar Hero 2 with the controller and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, I would like that. Yeah, a remake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
would be.
it'd be an interesting one as well. Would be Dragon Age Origins.
Oh yeah.
That was my answer
That would
last
be a
time.
really good one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they
Let's
are.
start talking about some of the similar stuff.
So they are making a Need for Speed Most Wanted 2, and it releases November 11th, 2025.
Oh.
Wow. So not only is it
Yeah.
already being remastered, but it's like going to be out soon.
So technically, it's not. So
Awesome.
technically, it's not Most Wanted 2. That's just what they're calling it. It's technically Need for Speed Most Wanted Part 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
So
I,
yeah,
I they
I never
actually
did the sequel.
they
I don't know what that
have
means.
they have a trailer for it. I remember seeing this a while back, and the trailer looks absolutely amazing.
Does it mean it's gonna be like a direct sequel? Like you'll play the same dude, and Razor's gonna be the guy you're fighting, and it's gonna be like the Blacklist over again, or something?
I don't know about that,
Like,
but the main car that they show on the cover is the BMW again. So,
okay,
you know, I mean
the blue and white one.
yeah. So, because I've wanted a Need for Speed remake or remaster for the longest time. It's my favorite racing game of all time, and if it wasn't for that game, I probably would have never played a Need for Speed game. To be completely honest with you.
Oh, nice.
So
I haven't
I
played
don't
since
agree
like
with that either.
Porsche Unleashed, or yeah, the original Hot Pursuit.
Yeah, no, I think that was the okay. I'm not gonna say it's the first racing game I ever played, but like definitely the most influential, and it was the first Need for Speed game I ever played. Shit, I remember they even released Most Wanted on, or maybe it wasn't Most Wanted. They released one of them on Game Boy Advance. Like,
I also would have taken Underground 2.
Underground 2 was
I know they came out like right
hard.
next to each other.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
like, from at least my perspective, probably their most influential.
Oh,
title.
well, would you
Had
look
the
at
most
this?
effect on other races.
Best soundtrack.
So there is a this was released February 7th, 2025, Need for Speed Need for Speed Most Wanted 2 Razor's Revenge reveal.
Oh,
So there's your other question answered, I guess. But yeah, so
get out of prison and steal your BMW again or something? Like,
I guess I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend looking up the trailer cuz it looks
So-
good.
So I have a question or a topic if you want.
Yeah.
What would your choice if make a game have a solo campaign or and then a game that you would love to see as either co-op or multiplayer in general? Like example being like the multiplayer Skyrim games, like the mods that people have made for that. Like, what game would you like to see that would be a multiplayer potentially or co-op kind of thing?
Man, that is oof, that's a rough one.
Yeah, I always remember like as a kid thinking, oh man, what if this game was co-op? You know, you could
Man,
go
what if
run around.
Minecraft you could play with other people?
Right, way back when.
Um, man, I'm gonna have to think about that.
Right.
Uh,
And then side story.
Subnautica's one for me.
Yeah, that's a
Oh,
good one.
that is a good
That's a
there's
one.
a
good
good
one.
choice.
That
I
is a
would
Long
really good one.
Dark.
I thought about
Yeah.
getting Long Dark the other day, but hadn't heard a whole lot about it.
It's really good. If you like
Yeah, I've
survival
heard good
games at
things.
all, I highly recommend this one. It's a slow burn, but I like it because of that like every little decision you make, every little thing you carry is gonna be dependent on your survival. And if you break a leg or something, whatever you were focused on, that becomes your new focus for the next couple hours.
Ooh,
Your broken leg.
Yeah, right,
It's
right.
like that kind of intensity.
Hmm.
Richie, you got any ideas what you would choose?
Mm, Still kind of thinking on it. Subnautica's a good idea, though.
Right. I would like to see something like that.
Subnautica would be great.
Honestly, if you could add like full on like whole game like seamless co-op kind of, like it's designed to be in the game and stuff like that, I would say maybe hmm,
Are you gonna say like the Soulsborne series? Because that would be my second vote. Like a
yeah, well,
more
that's not
integrated side by
that's
side
not a
Not
bad
gonna
co-op.
lie,
idea.
I was just thinking about that, and I was just gonna say that because that would be a great choice. I feel.
Honestly, the Pokemon series, if they could go that direction, actually make it
Oh,
like nice and like, you could
that
play
would
double
be
paddles.
What if?
that would
Like
be pretty cool.
So
That
like,
would be
You guys are
pretty
such
cool.
what
nerds.
if?
yeah.
So what if they did?
I'm not gonna lie. That's like my
So
big thing about Pokemon is as much as I do like playing it every now and then. Honestly, I always think every time I play it, I'm like, man, this would be so much fun to play with somebody else.
like I know
Right.
people do this with like current
That's
games,
fair.
but imagine a multiplayer Pokemon game where you play as rivals. So like you start off in the same town, you guys are just your rivals, and then you go through the game. Not necessarily. Well, I mean, I guess it would technically be together. And then at certain points,
Co-opetition.
just like with your rival, normally you would have your little battles and stuff like that. And I mean, I guess you could technically almost make it a race or something. I don't know. I don't know how that would work, but yeah, Pokemon would be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, you could literally just have it to where it's like, oh yeah, that's my friend. We're gonna do the gym challenge together. Let's make it a double.
Tempted to say
Cool.
Elder Scrolls, but we had that. And
Yeah,
Elder Scrolls Online. Yeah, unfortunately, that was.
and Fallout too.
But I
I was
don't
gonna
Fallout
say,
as well.
I would say,
Oh,
I
see,
was gonna say that.
here's what I was gonna say about that is if they did it like a straight co-op, like you're playing with your friend and you're just playing through it. If they did like Fallout 4, like exactly Fallout 4, but you just had a buddy in it, or even Skyrim,
Oh yeah, that would be
or would
different than what we got with in
exactly,
'76 in
yeah,
Elder Scrolls Online.
Okay,
yeah, those. So if it was that, yes, I would love
Right.
that. But I don't like 76 execution. I don't like Elder Scrolls Online execution. I just
Nah, me
those
neither.
weren't
I have,
those weren't the same thing.
I have mine.
agreed.
I know what I would choose.
What?
Dragon's Dogma 1 and 2.
Okay, I haven't played 2, but I'd like to.
2 is
Yeah.
is great. It the mechanics are a lot smoother. Um, it's and I'm not gonna lie, like there's some portions that will give you a struggle. Like you wouldn't think they would, but they definitely can.
They'll give you a struggle.
They'll give you a
That's how the
struggle.
first game was. There were like surprising spikes in difficulty, and usually it was a skill issue just out of nowhere.
Yeah, there are definitely skill checks in the game. That is 100% for sure. And I think that's one reason why I like it so much because it's one of those games that will punish you for not knowing the game. Uh, and it's one of those games that it kind of holds your hand to teach you the game, and then once it's done, it's just like, hey, um, either you're good or you're not, and you're about to find out real quick.
Fuck you. Oh, hey, little guy.
Let's find out.
Welcome to the world. Now that you're all grown up, get the fuck out.
Yep, that's pretty much what it boils down to. All right. Well, let me see here. I only have one more topic, Richie. I don't know how many you have, Mouse.
Nah, now. I've extinguished my two.
Okay. I have one more, and it's about Borderlands 4. So they have released the classes. They've also, this one isn't about the classes. So this one is about the open world changes, loot shakeups, and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna
Basically
read this.
answering the problems that people had. I've seen this before, or
Yep.
read the article.
So I'm just gonna read this and Nye Badger. Have you guys heard this at all?
Nope.
No, I haven't heard anything about it.
Okay. So, the state of play introduced us to Vault Hunters, Vex the Siren, Rafa the Exo Soldier. Vex is a winged mercenary capable also. Okay, they haven't shown us all 4 Vault Hunters, they've shown us 2 of them with names, and then we have pictures of the other 2. So, there's Vex the Siren and Rafa the Exo Soldier. Vex is a winged mercenary capable of conjuring ghost like minions to fight alongside her while empowering her own abilities. Rafa is a former Tidor soldier proficient in a variety of firearms. Vault Hunters are accompanied by Echo 4, a new robotic companion that gives players forward objectives, or guides players towards objectives. Jesus, sorry. Can hack terminals and machines, scan the environment to find useful objects, confirm returning characters include Claptrap, Moxie, Lilith, and Borderlands 3 Vault Hunters Zane and Amara. The game setting of Cairo is a new planet boasting 4 distinct biomes player can travel between seamlessly, so there's no loading between, which is gonna be fun. That's gonna be real interesting, I feel.
Major upgrade for the series.
For sure.
Yeah.
The world has been kept hidden for thousands of years by its ruler and the game's antagonist, the Timekeeper. This dictator rules his citizens by implanting the cybernetic parts called bolts and polices Kairos using his own personal army of synthetic soldiers called the Order. Regarding the series' signature comedic tone, Gearbox founder Randy blah blah blah. It's a more grounded tone, reminiscent of the first 2 games, so it's not going to be like the 3rd game.
Good.
Each Vault Hunter sports 3 action skills, class-specific abilities. Each action skill has its own skill tree and can be further bolstered by augments and capstones. To change or improve its properties, Vault Hunters also sport passive abilities called traits, which is something new. That ought to be pretty interesting. And then here was the big one that a lot of people had problems with, was all the legendaries that dropped in 3. Borderlands is all about the loot, and the 4th entry features weapons from 8 manufacturers, 3 new to the series. 3 of them are new to the series. Jacobs, Malawan, Valdoff, Tidor, Torque, and newly added Order, Ripper, and Daedalus. Each brand sports various perks and traits. A new licensed part system combine various abilities from multiple manufacturers into a single weapon. Enhancements replace artifacts as gear slots to augment weapons based on the manufacturer. As an example would be an enhancement that deals extra firepower for using a Tidor gun. Grenades and heavy weapons like rocket launchers no longer take up slots in your gun rotation. Instead, they occupy a new shared slot called Ordnance and now operate on a recharging cooldown meter. This means you can use them or use more explosive weapons continuously in any encounter, which I feel like is going to make the game a lot more fun, just because it's probably going to make it more chaotic.
It makes it sound like it's like almost like what's the ordnance thing from? Sorry, keep on reading. I forgot the name of the game already.
Overall, Gearbox is responding to player feedback by overhauling loot drop rates to ensure rarities matter again. To that end, it states legendaries now drop far less frequently than in Borderlands 3 to ensure they feel special again. The ability to replay entire missions and boss fights has also been added, meaning players can easily rerun bosses without reloading saves, which is an awesome feature. I love that.
Ooh, for grinding.
Yeah, I love that. Fight for Your Life returns as the last chance opportunity to save yourself when downed. However, a new piece of gear called rep kits let players heal themselves or activate temporary buffs to raise their odds during firefights. 4-player online multiplayer. It is
$1.99.
from release. It will be crossplay between all consoles, PC, everything. Yeah. The game will also be coming to Switch too. So,
Oh, you mean I'll have those
oh.
loser PC players playing with me?
Also, there will be instance loot, so everybody will get their own loot. You don't have to worry about loot ninjas and shit like that. So,
Just like how Borderlands 3 is.
yep. But overall, I'm really glad that from everything that I read, I'm really happy with the direction that they're taking it. It seems like it's going to be pretty cool. The new Vault Hunters look really good.
Yeah, they do look pretty interesting.
I like that.
It's still keeping it the same art style.
Yeah, it's gonna be the same art
yeah,
style. Just
Cell shaded.
yeah.
Yep.
I like that Vex or the Siren is now gonna be the minion user. That'll be.
Yeah. Almost makes it sound like a necromancer in a way.
That's essentially what
Kind
she is. Because she's very emo e-girl type. And yeah, it's gonna be a thing. But it looks pretty good. I'm glad that they changed the loot around because it really did get to where it didn't feel like literally in our playthrough of Borderlands, I have a legendary in all 3 slots.
Oh man.
And
Yeah.
it's like
And
they're
we're
cool.
level 20?
And they're not even that. I think we're still in our late teens. But like the thing is, it's cool. The guns are cool. They do a lot of damage, but they don't feel special in any way at all.
Yeah, no, it just seems like they're not legendaries. They're just like what purples were in Borderlands 2.
Yeah, they're
like, oh
epics.
yeah, this gun's good and it sometimes does special stuff, but
So you have trash, which is the whites. You have normal, which is the greens. You have uncommons, which are the purples, and then you have epics, which are the yellows.
yeah. Basically. And the legendaries are the pearlescent.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know.
wow,
Do they
that
have
many
pearls?
I don't know. That's
In
what I was
3?
just thinking about. I didn't. Yeah, let me see. Borderlands 3 have pearlescence. Okay, maybe.
Mayhem 6 or higher, but yeah, you can.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So they're in, but that's why we haven't seen them yet because you have to be on the higher levels of Mayhem.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yep.
Man, we got through all that stuff quick.
Yeah.
I really wasn't
Unpopular
expecting it.
opinion, though, I do like all the legendaries in Borderlands 3.
That's what I'm
Maybe
saying.
it doesn't feel quite as special, but I honestly also thought it was because all of us were playing together that we were getting so many legendaries. Because the more of us there were, the harder the game was, and the higher the odds of rare gun.
And I mean, like,
I'm not sure.
well, I mean, I don't know, because
But yeah, I do have almost legendary in all but like 1 or 2 slots.
I mean, the game is fun whenever you have people to play with. I think we've kind of come to the conclusion of that. And no, to me, the legendaries don't feel as special, but they are cool and they are still fun to play with. The gunplay is
fun.
the
It's not
gunplay
like
in
it's like,
3.
"Oh, another legendary," you know.
I just
it's fun.
hope that
Like,
they
ooh.
take and keep the gunplay of 3, and then pretty much take everything else from like 2 and 1.
That's fair.
Because
They
2
just need
and
a good
1,
villain. I think that's what made 2 so fucking good.
Yeah.
Because
That's
1
what
had
made
its own identity,
3 so
and
bad.
then 2 was like the growing the beard season of like Borderlands, you know, where like Riker grows his beard in season 2 of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
yeah.
Like, and you know, all the characters kind of figure out who they are. Borderlands 2 was Borderlands figuring out who it was, and it stepped away from that too much.
Well, and the more I think about it, I know that we kept saying it, but like, I really liked Katagawa as a bad guy in 3. Like, he
should have been the villain.
He was good. He was funny. Like, anytime he popped up, I listened because chances are what he said was going to be interesting at the very least. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I had no problems with that. But all right, well, I don't have anything else. Anybody else got anything they want to add or anything like that? No.
No,
I'm
yeah.
I'm
No?
fine personally. I've kind of got
Yeah.
through everything I had set up.
Okay. Well, I think that we can call it a night for here. We've been going for about an hour and a half, so that's about what we normally do.
Sounds good.
Um,
Cool.
Alrighty, guys. Well, this is going to be the end of episode 5. Oh, that's the other thing. I can't believe that it's been 5 episodes in. This is. It feels
Yeah,
like it's
go
been. It feels like maybe it's been 2, but whatever. Anyway, this is going to be the end of episode 5 of Demon's Lootbox. As always, go check out Mouse's content. He does some really good. He has some really good content over there. You got what was the last video you released? Wasn't it the Oblivion one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to as the console commander.
So go check that out. Give him a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Anyway, if you guys want to see more, like, comment, subscribe, and we will be back next week.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.